Have you ever wondered why sometimes the very things we want to bury away end up haunting us and guiding us more powerfully than the things we proudly display? Within every person exists a shadowy corner, a place where repressed anger, unnamed fears, and silenced desires are kept. Most of us choose to ignore it, believing that if we push it into the dark, it will simply vanish. But the truth is, the shadow does not disappear. It stands there, waiting, silently shaping the way we love, the way we create, and even the path our life takes. What few people know is this: hidden within the shadow lies the key to our deepest sense of purpose. Not a purpose born from fame or recognition, but the silent calling of the soul, a voice that only rises when we are brave enough to look into our own darkness. In today's video, we will journey through what Carl Jung left behind. From recognizing the shadow, observing how it reflects in our relationships, to the moment we realize that it is the very darkness that maps the path toward our true life mission. And perhaps by the end, you will see that the purpose you have been searching for all along is not out there, but hidden within the very part of you that you tried to forget. Number 1. The concept of the shadow in Jungian psychology. Imagine a room in your house that you have never dared to open. It is dark, dusty, filled with things you once hid, an unfinished letter, a gift you never accepted, or an old outfit you hope no one ever sees. As time passes, you learn to let it remain silent, as if it never existed. But sometimes you hear a faint noise from inside, or you catch someone's eyes glancing at the door, and your heart tightens. This is the symbolic image of what Carl Jung called the shadow. According to Jung, the shadow is not something foreign, but the part of the unconscious that we deny, the traits, emotions, and desires we deem unacceptable. It could be the anger we've learned to swallow, the jealousy we deny, or the hunger for recognition hidden beneath a mask of modesty. In other words, the shadow is the forgotten self, the part of us we dare not acknowledge. The paradox is that within the shadow lies the seed of power and the blueprint for a fulfilled life. What we hide does not vanish. It waits, longing to be seen and integrated. Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." When we feel anger or disgust towards someone, it may well be the buried shadow within us being revealed. Have you ever been surprised by your own intense reaction to something small? A boastful colleague keeps you awake at night with irritation, or someone boldly voices their opinion, and you feel unreasonably annoyed, though your logic finds no reason. That is when the shadow flashes. The truth is, deep inside you might be longing for the same confidence, the same expression, but out of fear, you suppress it. And when you see someone else living it out, you flare up. The shadow shows up not only in negative emotions, but also in hidden desires. A stern, moralistic person may feel strangely drawn to free-spirited individuals. Someone who insists, "I need no one," may secretly yearn for love. These contradictions are not coincidences. They are whispers from the shadow, or a guide through empathy. Someone who once denied their ambition might find purpose in leadership, creativity, or conquest. As Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And to become your true self, you cannot leave the shadow behind. Understanding the concept of the shadow is only the beginning. Behind this mysterious veil lies many more layers. How the shadow reflects into relationships, how it drives your reactions, and most importantly, how it becomes the map leading you to your purpose. Among hundreds of people trying to appear pleasant, kind, and hiding emotions deemed unacceptable, only a few dare to ask, "If I looked straight at my shadow, who would I become?" If you feel you are on that journey, comment "Facing the shadow" below this video. Let it be a gentle signal that you have begun to open the locked door, stepping into the room that holds the strength you thought you had to bury. Number 2. The shadow as a mirror of the self. Sometimes we are surprised by our own emotions. Someone succeeds, and instead of being happy, we feel uneasy. Someone else receives praise, and a bitter voice whispers inside us. We wonder, why am I reacting like this? Am I a bad person? But for Carl Jung, this is not wickedness, it is a sign that the shadow is speaking. In Jungian psychology, the shadow not only hides within, but also reflects outward through a phenomenon called projection. When we deny a part of ourselves, we see it in others. Thus, sometimes the shadow is not in the mirror, but in the way we look at the world. I once heard of a woman who always felt uncomfortable when her friends succeeded. Each time someone was rewarded or achieved something new, she muttered inside, "They were just lucky," or "probably connections." She told herself she was simply realistic, not prone to flattery. But over time, she realized the bitter truth. She too longed for recognition, to shine. Yet childhood teachings like, "Don't be too ambitious, be content," had buried her dreams. So every time she saw friends live theirs, she felt pain, then turned it into criticism. Jung once wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." This reminds us that what we judge in others often mirrors what we have rejected in ourselves. When we condemn arrogance, perhaps we also long for confidence. When we scorn ambition, perhaps we too desire to rise. When we resent free creativity, perhaps we are suppressing that aliveness within. Think of your soul as a projector. Everything you refuse to admit gets projected onto the screen of other people. You see selfishness, greed, arrogance, not because they only belong to others, but because you pushed them out of your awareness, and now they appear outside, forcing you to face them. The lesson is not to destroy the projector, but to realize the film originates within. When we understand this, every relationship becomes a subtle classroom for the soul. Each person who provokes anger or envy is a mirror revealing our inner darkness. Instead of rushing to judge, we can pause and ask, what part of me is being reflected here? In that moment, anger transforms into curiosity, and instead of distance, we begin moving closer to our true selves. The miracle of projection is that it lets us see what we have not dared to face. Once we recognize it, we not only understand ourselves better, but also grow more compassionate toward others. We realize everyone carries a shadow, everyone is on the journey of learning to integrate it. And when judgment gives way to empathy, relationships are no longer battlegrounds, but pathways to maturity. By daring to face our darkness, we discover hidden seeds of purpose. Envy can reveal the desire for success. Anger can point to the need for respect. Fear can open the door to courage. Jung believed the shadow is a map guiding us to wholeness. And sometimes, the road to true purpose begins exactly where we are most afraid. Next time you feel uncomfortable with someone, treat it as an invitation to look inward, to see more clearly the shadow waiting to be heard. Who knows, perhaps from those uneasy moments, the path to your true purpose will slowly unfold. And then, once we see that the shadow is not only within but also reflected through others, the next natural question arises. What do we do with these discoveries? Recognition alone is not enough, for the shadow will return unless we learn to integrate it. This is where Jung leads us deeper into the journey of individuation, where light and darkness meet to form a whole being. Number 3. The shadow and the journey of individuation. For Carl Jung, humans are not born whole. We come into life incomplete, and the greatest journey is not to seek perfection, but to learn to become ourselves in wholeness. Wholeness means integrating both light and dark, the traits we are proud of and the ones we want to hide, living in unity instead of division. Jung called this journey individuation. Many mistake self-development as eliminating the Instead of hate, we learn to listen. Life's meaning lies not in chasing only light, but in bringing darkness into light so it becomes strength. And this opens the door to purpose. If we live only with social masks, our purpose will be shallow, easily shaken. But when we integrate both light and dark, purpose blossoms from our deepest soil. Hercules became a hero only when he atoned for his darkest deed. The woman found happiness only when she admitted her need for love. And you too. The path to purpose is not to leave darkness behind, but to bring it along. How do you know you are walking individuation's path? Each time you choose to face rather than avoid, to listen rather than judge, to turn shame into strength, you are on the way. Quietly, steadily, step by step, you move closer to your soul's center. Like Hercules, you will see that darkness is not the end, but the beginning of a new chapter. Every trial, every fall, every repressed emotion is a doorway deeper into yourself. Individuation is the journey of turning wounds into wisdom, fear into courage, conflict into strength. And from there you find purpose not out there, but within your wholeness. So whenever you meet a part of yourself that feels unbearable, remember, it is not an enemy, but a companion. A silent, loyal friend pointing out, there is still a missing piece for you to be whole. And perhaps, within that piece, lies the key to your true life purpose. Have you ever realized that the very darkness you once feared opened up new strength? Share your story, for your journey may also light the way for someone else searching for wholeness. Number 4. Practices for recognizing and facing the shadow. Once we understand that individuation is about integrating both light and dark, the next question arises: how do we actually walk this path in daily life? Theory can inspire, but only concrete practices let us truly touch the shadow and transform it into strength. One way to begin is to observe strong emotional reactions in everyday life. When you explode with anger over a small comment, feel jealous of another's success, or even admire someone excessively, these are signs the shadow is speaking. Such emotions are like red lights on a dashboard, signaling something inside that needs attention. They are not enemies, but invitations to pause and reflect. From observation, move to an important practice: self-inquiry. Instead of asking, "Why did that person make me so upset?" try asking, "What is this reaction revealing about me? What part of me is being mirrored?" These questions open a door, shifting you from judgment to curiosity, from avoidance to exploration. Jung believed the shadow always tries to communicate, often indirectly. One way to listen better is journaling. Spend a few minutes daily writing about moments when you reacted strongly: sudden anger, unexplainable fear, envy at someone's success. Don't analyze yet, just write honestly. Over time, patterns emerge, and your shadow begins to take shape. Beyond journaling, dreams are another precious doorway. Jung saw dreams as the language of the unconscious, where the shadow often appears as images, figures, or scenarios. Perhaps you dream of being chased, or of a stranger doing something frightening. These are not meaningless. They are signals from the unconscious. Recording dreams each morning and asking, "What part of me does this character represent?" can reveal unexpected truths. Another practice is symbolic dialogue with the shadow. Imagine sitting across from it in a quiet room. Let it speak. What angers it? What does it desire? What part of you does it need acknowledged? At first, this may feel strange, even uncomfortable. But with patience, you discover the shadow holds not only darkness, but also vital energy you abandoned. In one Jungian therapy session, a woman admitted she often lost patience with her teenage daughter. If her daughter was careless or made a mistake, she would immediately scold harshly. She thought she was simply a strict mother. But through journaling and shadow dialogue, she realized the anger was not only at her child, but also at the weakness she had denied herself. As a child, She was scolded for not being good enough, and so she learned to hate weakness. When she listened to the shadow's voice, she heard, "I just want forgiveness for not being perfect." She broke into tears, realizing the weight she had carried. From then on, instead of erupting, she learned to pause, breathe, and speak with more patience. The change came not from being a perfect mother, but from accepting imperfection within herself. Above all, remember, the shadow does not exist to destroy you, but to show what has been left behind. As Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Recognizing the shadow is how you reclaim authorship of your life. Each time you write down your anger instead of suppressing it, each time you ask, "What in me wants to be seen?" instead of you seeking acknowledgement. When we integrate the shadow, relationships transform. Instead of seeing the other as the problem, we see them as a mirror helping us understand ourselves. Judgment gives way to empathy, and conflict shifts from battleground to opportunity for true connection. An argument no longer ends in silent distance, but in the question, "Are you reflecting something within me?" In such moments, relationships mature and bonds grow authentic. Beyond relationships, the shadow powerfully fuels creativity. If we open the creative door, this energy can become art, invention, or social change. Artists, writers, musicians have long dialogued with their shadows through their work. A painting soaked in darkness, a novel full of inner struggle, a melody born from loneliness. All are ways humans bring shadow into light. Once transformed, the energy not only heals the individual, but touches thousands, even millions of souls. One of the clearest examples is Martin Luther King Jr. He was born into an America divided by racial segregation, where generations of black pain and rage were repressed. Instead of letting that rage erupt as violence, he transformed it into strength for the civil rights movement. His speeches, especially "I Have a Dream," were not just calls for justice, but proof that the energy of the shadow, pain, anger, can become a guiding light for social change. Martin Luther King Jr. did not deny righteous anger at injustice. He faced it, acknowledged it, then directed it into the language of love and nonviolence. That is the Jungian spirit, not erasing darkness, but transforming it into creative material for the new. If the personal shadow affects one life, the collective shadow, when transformed, can reshape history. Shadow in creativity does not always lead to great movements. Even in daily life, someone who once repressed anger may learn to channel it into defending fairness. Someone who once hid sensitivity may discover joy in writing, painting, or healing work. Every buried emotion, when released through creativity, becomes a flow-nourishing life. If you have noticed your shadow appearing in relationships or creativity, you know it is not just something to hide, but a quiet source of strength. And if what I shared resonates, click like as a signal that you are ready to face your darkness and turn it into material for deeper love, stronger creativity, and truer living. What matters is learning to recognize when the shadow enters a relationship and when it knocks on creativity's door. A heated argument can be a chance for deeper understanding. A surge of anger can fuel a painting, a poem, or a movement. With courage to bring the shadow into life, we become not only whole individuals, but also contributors of real value to the world. Number 6. The shadow and life purpose. When the shadow not only lives in personal experience, but also enters relationships and creativity, the deeper question arises, where does it all lead? The answer, in Jung's spirit, is life purpose. For when the shadow is recognized and integrated, it not only matures us in love and fuels creativity, but also whispers the path our soul was born to take. Life purpose, according to Jung, is not an external goal like fame, wealth, or status. It is not for display or recognition, but the harmony between our inner self and how we live outwardly. In other words, purpose does not arise from society's standards, but from inner alignment, where light and dark shake hands to create the guiding voice of life. Many search for purpose by asking, what am I good at? What does society need from me? But Jung would urge a different question. In the pains, the wounds I once denied, what is calling me back? It is often within those flaws that the seeds of purpose grow. Someone who grew up feeling worthless may find purpose in helping others see their value. Someone who knew loneliness may become a bridge, bringing community to the lost. Someone who buried sensitivity out of fear may, upon opening, become a healer through empathy. These dark fragments, when illuminated, not only free us, but also become gifts to the world. Wounds are not barriers, but doors for light to enter. Facing the shadow not only heals us, but fuels us to give. Purpose is born not apart from darkness, but from its transformation. Imagine a woman who lived with the belief, I am not good enough. For years, she tried to prove her worth with achievements, but the emptier she felt. Only when she sat with her shadow, admitting, I was abandoned, I felt worthless, did she begin to transform. Later, she became a mentor for teenagers battling invisibility like she once did. Strangely, when she stopped proving she was good enough, she found her true purpose, bringing presence and understanding to those who needed it. Jung once wrote, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. But when we dare, the shadow ceases to be a burden and becomes the key unlocking our mission. Without darkness, we cannot know where our light lies. Without wounds, we cannot find the path to share wisdom and love. Our mission is born not only of strengths, but a seed in the common field of human consciousness. Jung believed the human soul is not separate. Each individual, though appearing to live alone, is connected to a deeper layer, what he called the collective unconscious. Within it lie not only archetypes, but also the influence of each action, each transformation. When one person dares face their shadow and finds purpose, that energy enriches the collective mind. Picture a candle in a dark room. It lights the way for its holder, but its glow also spreads, lessening the darkness for all. The personal shadow, once integrated, is such a flame. It frees us and inspires others to look at themselves. One who once lived in shame now lives truthfully. Their presence proves darkness is not a death sentence, but a beginning of change. Others see themselves reflected and gain courage for their own journey. In relationships, one person's change reshapes the emotional ecosystem of many. A mother who accepts her imperfection instead of lashing out breaks a generational cycle of punishment. A father who admits his fear instead of controlling nurtures a generation of listeners. Individuation, therefore, is not only a gift to oneself, but to society. Jung once wrote, "The individuation process is a liberation and illumination, not only for the individual, but also for the group to which he belongs." This means that when one person is less ruled by their shadow, they have less need to project it outward. And when many reduce projection, society holds less conflict, more empathy. This unfolds quietly in daily life. Someone once burdened by worthlessness now mentors youth, not only changing their life, but those they guide. Those young people, given new trust, continue spreading healing. Like ripples on water, one small transformation can reach farther than we imagine. Imagine a world where everyone takes responsibility for their shadow. Instead of lashing out, we ask, what part of me is speaking? Instead of envy and tearing others down, we ask, what dream have I abandoned? If most people practice this, wars, divisions, prejudices would greatly lessen. Society would no longer run on unhealed wounds, but on awareness and compassion. Our individual purpose, therefore, is never separate from humanity's greater purpose. When we find our true path, we also add a piece to the evolution of collective consciousness. One who heals their pain, inflicts less on others, and that alone is a quiet but vast contribution. Jung called this an archetypal act. When we live true to our essence, we awaken universal symbols, reminding the collective of its return path to wholeness. You may think, I am just ordinary. Can my small change matter? The answer is yes, for the collective unconscious does not care who you are by status. It listens only to authenticity. Each time you choose forgiveness over hate, you send a new signal into humanity's shared field. Each time you choose truth over pretense, you plant another seed in the soil of awareness. When many do this, humanity changes most deeply from within. Carl Jung once said, "The salvation of the world consists in the salvation of the individual soul." Each time we step into our shadow, we not only save ourselves, but open a path of salvation for the world. And that is the greatest meaning. The shadow, once thought a private burden, becomes the bridge linking us to humanity's destiny. At the end of this journey, we see, the shadow is not the enemy to eliminate, but the key to the door of our true self. It keeps the forgotten pieces, the denied desires, and the strength we never dared use. Purpose is not in fleeing darkness, but in bringing it into light and walking with it toward inner maturity. If you once thought you must be perfect to deserve a mission, Jung reminds us it is imperfection that creates your unique path. Each time you accept a forgotten part, you not only grow, but also light a candle for the collective, unlocking new possibilities within yourself. If this video stirs you to go deeper into integrating light and darkness to discover your true purpose, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. For only when you dare face the most silent part of yourself will you begin to hear the truest call of your soul, a call that leads you toward wholeness and freedom. There are people who pass through our lives so gently, yet remain for a very long time. You may not meet them often, perhaps only a few times in your life, but their image, their voice, or simply a feeling about them keeps returning, over and over again, no matter what you are doing. Without any effort to remember, they are still there, like an underground current that never stops flowing. This is not merely longing or a fleeting impression. It is a recurring presence, enough to make you wonder, why, among the hundreds of people I've met, are they the only one who stays this long? Carl Jung believed that no encounter is ever completely random. There are people who come solely to awaken a part of you that has been asleep, or to reflect back a shadow you once denied. And when that happens, they leave an imprint on your mind, as if the universe itself had arranged it. In this video, we will decode why a person can remain in your mind for so long. Don't rush to forget them, because perhaps they are bringing you the key to open an important door on the journey of understanding and returning to yourself. Are you ready to step into this mysterious yet fascinating journey? Number 1. A signal from the unconscious. Why someone keeps appearing in your mind. There are people who appear in your mind so naturally, as if they just passed through a room in your heart and accidentally left behind a fragrance. You don't try to remember them, but they remain there, quiet and gentle, like a melody you hear once and can never forget. That presence is not loud, not urgent, but something about it slips quietly into every gap in your thoughts. You may be working, eating, talking to someone, and with just one pause, they appear again in your mind, as vividly as if you had just seen them. You might think this is just overthinking or a strong impression, but Carl Jung believed that moments like this are rarely accidental. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." The unconscious does not speak in words. It sends messages through images, memories, sensations, and sometimes through a person. Someone repeatedly appearing in your mind is not simply because you like or dislike them. It may be a deeper signal, a call from the submerged part of your mind, where memories, emotions, and desires you have forgotten or never dared to face reside. If the mind is like an iceberg, the part you see above the water is the conscious mind, where you know what you are thinking, doing, and choosing. But the vast submerged part beneath is the unconscious, where most of what shapes who you are is stored, whether you realize it or not. When someone happens to touch this hidden part, even just through a glance, a word, a posture, or even a vague feeling when they are near, they become a special anchor. From that moment, their image is imprinted, like a drop of ink falling into clear water, spreading into ripples that cannot be pulled back. Interestingly, this person doesn't have to be the greatest love of your life, nor someone you see every day. Sometimes they're just a stranger you pass on a train, a new acquaintance at a gathering, or even a character in a movie you happen to watch. Yet somehow, they carry something that fits a piece deep inside you, a piece you didn't even know you were searching for. It's like the unconscious Your emotions toward them may be far stronger than the actual connection you have. And sometimes, if someone asks why you think of them, you can't give any logical reason except, "I don't know." Instead of asking, "Why them?" try asking, "What are they reminding me of?" Do they make you think of someone from your past? Do they stir a feeling you haven't touched in a long time? Do they embody a quality you long for but have never dared to live with? These questions will gradually lead you to the answer, and the answer often has less to do with them than you think. It has to do with you, with the parts you have never shone a light on. The truth is, most of us, when we notice ourselves thinking too much about someone, react by pushing them away or blaming ourselves. We tell ourselves, "I'm being silly," or "I'm just daydreaming." But if you are brave enough to listen, you will realize this is a precious gift, an opportunity to explore yourself on a deeper level. Because the unconscious doesn't knock every day, and when it sends a signal, it means something inside you is waiting to be seen. And when you open that door, you step into an important realm in Jung's thinking, the shadow. This is often the real reason someone's presence feels so intense and unforgettable. They may be both attractive and unsettling, someone you admire and yet want to avoid. Number 2, the secret of the shadow, when others reflect the part you don't want to face. There are moments when you meet someone, and from then on, they seem unable to leave your mind. Not just because of their appearance or the way they speak, but because they stir up a very particular feeling, both captivating and uncomfortable, both familiar and strange. That feeling keeps you thinking about them, as if they hold a part of your own secret. From Carl Jung's perspective, the reason runs much deeper. That person is touching the shadow inside you. The shadow is a concept Jung used to describe the traits, emotions, or desires you have learned to hide. They are not stored away because they disappear, but because you fear being judged, fear breaking the image you maintain, or fear yourself if you live authentically with them. The shadow could be anger, weakness, a hunger for power, or even a radiant source of energy you were once taught should not be shown. Whether you realize it or not, this part still exists and quietly influences how you feel, react, and remember others. As Jung once said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. When someone repeatedly appears in your mind, sometimes it is not because they are your destined half, but because they are like a transparent mirror, reflecting exactly the part you have buried. You admire them because they dare to live with what you have not yet dared to. You are irritated because they express something you were taught was not allowed. Or you feel both drawn to and wary of them, because in them you see a version of yourself you have long avoided. I once heard a woman speak about her colleague. She always found herself fixated on the image of him speaking at meetings. Not because he was wrong, but because he was so frank, willing to say what he thought without fearing conflict. She, on the other hand, always chose silence, keeping the peace, avoiding upsetting anyone. She told herself she disliked his confrontational nature, but when she looked deeper, she realized that was only a cover. In truth, she longed to be as courageous as he was, but the fear of judgment had made her suppress it for many years. That discomfort didn't come from him, but from her own shadow being stirred. The fascinating thing is that the shadow does not only hold negative things, it can contain creativity, leadership ability, or a strong, vibrant life force. But if from childhood you were taught, don't be different, don't be too ambitious, or don't stand out too much, you will learn to bury it. Then one day, you meet someone who walks into a room radiating exactly that energy. Instantly, your unconscious recognizes it and whispers, "This is also a part of you." And so their image stays in your mind, like an invitation to reclaim what was lost. Imagine you are standing in front of a large mirror, but the room is only half lit. You only see the part you want to see, your face, your smile, your eyes, while the darker corners are left unseen. The shadow is the part lying in that darkness. When someone appears and unintentionally shines a beam of light on it, you suddenly see images you have always avoided. That moment might make you freeze or want to turn away. But if you dare to look closely, you will realize what is reflected is not someone else, but you. Those who awaken your shadow often leave a deep impression, regardless of how close your real-life relationship is. They don't just appear in your daily life, they touch the deepest layers of your mind. And when that happens, they often stay in your thoughts for a long time, until you understand the message your unconscious is trying to send. Jung believed that the shadow is not the enemy. You don't need to destroy or erase it. On the contrary, only by accepting and integrating it into yourself can you truly be whole. You see a part of yourself you had never recognized before, a secret part that quietly existed, now suddenly awakened. Carl Jung described anima and animus as two archetypes lying deep in the unconscious, representing the feminine and masculine aspects within every human being. Whether you are male or female, you carry both elements inside you. The anima is the feminine side within a man, intuition, empathy, the ability to listen, softness, and emotional connection. The animus is the masculine side within a woman, reason, decisiveness, inner strength, the ability to direct and to act. What's unique is that these parts are not always expressed outwardly. Many people, because of family influence, society, or early life experiences, have unconsciously developed one aspect while suppressing the other. The suppressed part will quietly sleep deep inside, and sometimes a person may live their whole life without touching it. Yet sometimes, in the most unexpected way, you meet someone whose presence alone is like light, slipping through a crack in the door, gently awakening those emotions and energies. Imagine you are a woman who has always been taught to be gentle, soft, pleasing to others, to avoid arguing or expressing opinions too strongly. You are used to living in your anima, the soft side, but have unintentionally suppressed your animus, the decisiveness, reason, and ability to stand firm in storms. Then one day, you meet a man with confidence and steadiness, not only in his words, but in the way he walks, the way he looks you directly in the eyes when talking. You feel drawn to him, but if you look deeper, the attraction does not come only from him as a person, but from the fact that he has touched the animus within you, the part that longs to live with greater strength and clarity, which you have long forgotten. Conversely, a man raised in an environment that always values toughness and logic, taught that men don't cry, may have buried his anima, the ability to feel, to listen, and to connect emotionally. But then he meets a woman, or even a friend, who gives him a sense of safety to reveal the vulnerability he hides. When she listens without judgment, when she sees the pain in his eyes without asking him to explain, the anima inside him begins to awaken. And it is that awakening that makes her image an inseparable part of his mind. I once spoke with a successful businessman used to making quick and logical decisions. He was proud of his ability to control emotions well until he met a new female colleague. She was not the type of woman who stood out physically, but she had a strange warmth. When the group's discussions became heated, she would often speak one gentle sentence that quieted the room, leading everyone to see the problem from a different angle. Many times, he would go home still thinking about that attentive gaze. It made him feel at peace, yet unsettled. Much later, when he learned about Jung, he realized this was his anima, the softness and emotional connection, long asleep, and her presence had awakened it. It wasn't love, but a feeling deep enough that he couldn't forget. Jung emphasized that the presence of a person can sometimes be an invitation to step out of the comfort zone of your familiar personality, to explore and accept your other half. When you recognize this, you will be less likely to fall into obsession or idealization. Instead of just thinking, "I want to be with them," you will ask, "What part of me is being awakened?" And when you find the answer, you can nurture that part without depending on whether they are still here or have gone. When the anima or animus is awakened, the initial feeling is often intense, as if you have just found a lost puzzle piece. But if you understand that the piece already belonged to you, you will no longer feel the need for them to complete you. Then you become more emotionally self-sufficient, and their presence in your mind becomes lighter. Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." Meeting someone can change you, but lasting change only comes when you keep the newly awakened part for yourself. And when you understand this, you will no longer ask, "Why can't I stop thinking about them?" But instead, listen more deeply. What part of me are they awakening? It could be the strength you once buried, or the tenderness you never allowed yourself to live fully. Once you realize that the peace already belongs to you, you will no longer feel the need to hold on to someone for fear of losing it. Because you understand they were only the one who brought it back to you. Gratitude replaces obsession. Appreciation replaces fear of loss. And then, even when they are no longer there, you still carry the part they awakened within you in every step you take. It is no longer just the story of a special person, but the story of you, fuller, deeper, and closer to your true self. Sometimes, the reason someone stays in your mind is not because they are extraordinary, but because they help you see yourself more clearly than ever before. Number 4. The truth about projection. When you see project. Someone who has been betrayed will be quick to suspect others, not because there's current evidence of betrayal, but because old fear is coloring their vision. In Greek mythology, the story of Narcissus illustrates this perfectly. A man so beautiful that even he could not resist himself, one day seeing his own reflection in the water, he fell in love instantly. Narcissus did not know it was his own image, and believed it was another perfect, alluring person. That is the kind of love directed at an idealized image created by oneself, just like when we love someone not so much for who they are, but because they awaken something deep inside us. I once knew a young woman named Anna who always thought of herself as not interesting enough. She had a stable job, a predictable schedule, and rarely stepped outside her comfort zone. One day, Anna met Mark, a freelance photographer who traveled constantly, ready to drop all plans to capture a beautiful moment. Anna was quickly captivated, believing Mark was her missing puzzle piece. But after a few months, she realized she wasn't truly compatible with his adventurous lifestyle. What she was really drawn to wasn't Mark, but the freedom and spontaneity he represented. Once she understood that, Anna began creating new experiences for herself, learning to dance, taking weekend trips, trying things she'd never done before. And when her own life felt full, Mark's image in her mind began to fade. Projection makes it impossible to stop thinking about someone because they are not only themselves, they are also a mirror reflecting the parts of you that you have longed for or feared. Every time you remember them, you're actually touching a deep part of your unconscious, where unlived or unhealed things remain intact. This is why you can be obsessed with someone you've never even been close to. They are not just flesh and blood, they are a symbol of a part of you that needs to be seen. To break out of this loop, you need to ask yourself, are the feelings I have really coming from them or from a part of me? If they were gone tomorrow, what would I miss most, the person themselves or the feeling they brought me? When you find the answer, you'll realize it's not about them, it's about you. Then, you can consciously nurture that part without relying on anyone else. Projection is not the enemy. It is the mind's natural mechanism for revealing things you have never been fully aware of. But if you live only in it, you will forever chase after images that are not real. When you understand that this person is simply a mirror reflecting a part of yourself, you will begin to feel lighter. You will stop asking, why can't I stop thinking about them? And start asking, what are they showing me about myself? And when the answer becomes clear, their presence will gradually turn into a valuable lesson rather than a lingering obsession. That's when you step out of the state of being swept away and start seeing every connection with more awakened eyes. You no longer seek them to fill a void. You learn to fill it from within. You no longer fear losing them, because what you found never existed outside of you. When you realize this, you begin to appreciate encounters in a new way, lighter, unbound, but still full of meaning. Number 5. The phenomenon of synchronicity, when the universe arranges for you to meet them again. And then, when you begin to realize that this person is only a mirror reflecting part of yourself, when you stop seeking answers from them and turn inward, something strange begins to happen. As if by a mysterious coincidence, they appear again at precisely the moments that make you wonder whether things are truly random or if the universe has been quietly arranging it all along. Have you ever shivered with the feeling, this can't just be a coincidence? You think of someone, just briefly, like a wisp of smoke, and minutes later they appear on your phone screen. You're cleaning out an old drawer, and suddenly a small object tied to memories of them falls out. You walk down a new street, only to hear a song playing from a corner cafe that used to be your song with them. Everything happens naturally, yet with a sense of uncanny timing, as if someone, on a deeper level of reality, has just lightly touched the invisible string connecting you and them. Carl Jung called these moments synchronicity, meaningful coincidences. These are not meaningless accidents, like you and your neighbor randomly wearing the same color shirt. Synchronicity carries a layer of personal meaning, as if a door from the unconscious has opened and the outside world has suddenly become a mirror reflecting exactly what you are feeling, thinking, or needing to realize. Jung believed that, at certain times, there is a silent dialogue between your inner world and the outer circumstances, where time and space seem to bend so that two lines, which seemed like they would never meet, suddenly intersect. Interestingly, such moments of synchronicity often appear when you are on the verge of transformation, when a person has been coming back into your mind repeatedly. Maybe you're hesitating over a decision, wondering if you've truly closed a chapter, or if there's still an invisible thread connecting you, or you're searching for the name of a feeling you've never called. In truth, the message may be, look deeper into what is happening inside you when you meet them. Imagine you are walking in the forest and suddenly see the footprint of a rare animal. That footprint is not an invitation to hunt, but a sign that you are heading in the right direction to understand the environment you are moving through. Similarly, a chance encounter might be a sign you are ready to face a part of yourself, whether through joy, longing, or emotions you've never touched before. Jung once said, "Synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see." And to see here is not only to notice the sign, but to dare to ask, what is this sign illuminating in me? Because ultimately, synchronicity is not about the universe sending a person to complete you, but about sending an experience to awaken something you are ready to receive. Sometimes it is a lesson about letting go. Sometimes it is an invitation to open your heart. And sometimes it is simply a gentle touch to let you know you are still connected to others, to the world, and to yourself. When you understand the meaning of these signals and learn to welcome them with awareness, you will realize that every presence, every lingering memory, carries its own message. Number 6. Decoding and transforming, turning obsession into an opportunity for inner growth. Instead of trying to erase their image from your mind, see it as a door opening to deeper self-understanding. The human mind has an intriguing paradox. The harder you try to forget, the more you remember. The more you push someone out of your head, the more their image slips back in. This doesn't mean you are weak or dependent. Sometimes it is simply a sign they are acting as a messenger, a symbol your mind has chosen to lead you back to a hidden part of yourself. Carl Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Those who attract or obsess us rarely appear randomly. They are like mirrors, reflecting parts of ourselves we have not yet recognized, or shadows we have long denied. Seen this way, someone's repeated presence in your mind is no longer just about emotions. It becomes a journey of self-discovery. Every time a person stirs deep feelings in you, whether desire, admiration, or discomfort, those feelings are the map leading to a door you've never opened. Imagine you are watching a play. The lead character's lines and actions touch you deeply. When you leave the theater, you carry those feelings for weeks. The actor is not the only cause. They are simply the catalyst, pulling back the curtain so you can see a part of yourself long hidden. That person in your life is the same. They open the door to a part of your inner world you have never dared to face. I recall the story of Daniel, a photographer in New York. After his marriage ended, he closed himself off, avoiding new connections. On a work trip, he met Lila, a young, energetic writer. Just a few conversations with her made Daniel feel alive again, as if light had flooded a room he had locked for years. When he returned, they didn't stay in touch, but Lila's image remained. At first, Daniel thought it was unspoken romantic feelings. Later, he realized what he truly missed was not Lila, but the sense of freedom, creativity, and vitality her presence had awakened. Once he understood that, he began recreating those experiences for himself, traveling, photographing for his own joy, opening up to deep conversations. Lila left his mind, but the part of himself she had awakened kept on living. That is the step of transformation. Instead of asking, "How do I forget?" ask, "What are they reflecting in me?" It might be a quality you admire, a forgotten desire, or an unhealed wound. Once you find the root, you'll see that what you need isn't in them, it's in you. And when you nurture it from within, the obsession gradually dissolves, leaving behind a new piece. A useful practice is to keep a reflection journal. Whenever their image appears, note the situation, the feelings, and ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? Over time, the pieces will fit together, and the answer will emerge more clearly. This is how you reclaim your own agency, rather than letting your mind be led by an image outside your control. In psychology, this process is called integration. When a memory or intense experience is consciously acknowledged, analyzed, and connected with other parts of yourself, it finds a stable place to belong. Then it no longer needs to repeat itself to get your attention. Many fear that if they don't forget, they can't move on. But inner growth doesn't come from forgetting. It comes from changing the way you remember. Let their image become a milestone, a marker of your growth. They came, left a message, and when that message is received, your journey continues more lightly. If right now someone still lingers in your mind, see it as life's invitation to step into the inner room where the part they awakened is waiting to be fully lived. When you embrace that part, you discover something miraculous. Freedom